I've not seen Ivan yet.
He's been here once, I know.
Jim, we've got 4, so we've got quorum, so we're good. I'm not sure. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Laverne Board and Zone Appeals, March 29th, regular meeting at 5:30. I call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. If you could review the minutes from October the 26th, 2021, and any changes, let me know. If not, I'll take a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved. Okay, new business. Request for variance to locate an accessory structure in the rear yard, property located at 205 Old Walden Road, tax map 17C, Group A, Parcel 37, R1, Low Density Residential, Zone District, property owned by Kenneth T. Jenkins Jr. Mr. Logan, please.
Thank you. This is a request for a variance at 205 Old Walden Road. And the applicant is building an accessory structure in the rear yard. And we'll see some photos of that in just a minute. This is the property outlined in blue on the screen. And we'll zoom in just a little. This is right across from the co-op facility. All these buildings here with the bright white roofs are the co-op facilities. So this is 205, and you can see in the rear yard, in your packets also is a diagram that shows the building that's under construction. As you can see on the screen, there is a stream that runs through the yard, and you can see that pretty clearly there in the image. So that's caused the property owner some issues with the placement of the accessory structure. Here's a zoning map. You can see this entire side of Old Walden is actually the same zoning, which is R1, low density residential. And again, you can see this subject property is in the blue outline. So this diagram is in your packets. It didn't scan well, but it looks fairly well in your packet. But you can see this is the stream at the approximate 45-degree angle, and then the shed is in the rear, and the property owners had to shove that shed toward the side property line. So the variance involves the side setback because they can't meet the 10-foot required setback that the city requires. Then this is the home, of course, and vehicles parked in front of the home. And I think there, the property owner drew, there's a bridge that crosses this stream that's located in the backyard. This is a older plat that was submitted by the applicant, and there are 3 lots off of Hazelwood. This is Hazelwood at the bottom of the image, and then Old Walden running top to bottom. But they're the 3rd from the corner, so on this old plat, it's lot 81. And these are actual photos of the accessory structure that's in the rear yard.
So he's built this before.
Another photo.
Getting approval.
And the applicant did submit all their paperwork on time with the notary as required. And I'll just go over the report here that's in your packet. So again, this address is 205 Old Walden Road. And per the zoning ordinance, all accessory buildings such as detached garages, carports, and sheds must be located in the rear yard and be at least 10 feet from all property lines. And this request falls under the 3rd power that's delegated to the Board of Zoning Appeals by the state of Tennessee, whereby reason of exceptional narrowness, shallowness, or shape of a specific piece of property at the time of enactment of the zoning ordinance, or by reason of exceptional topographic conditions or other extraordinary and exceptional situations or condition of the piece of property, the strict application of the zoning regulations would result in peculiar and exceptional practical difficulties to or exceptional or undue hardship upon owner of such property. So in a nutshell, that's saying that if there's a topographic condition present such as a steep grade or a water course, stream, what have you, that changes the yard or changes the area where the applicant is wishing to build a structure. If those conditions exist, then they're eligible for a variance, of course, as agreed upon by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And I'll just go here into the recommendation part. So staff offers a positive recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals because of the stream that's running through the lot. Number one, this request would be justified because of the following conditions. The property is exceptional due to narrowness, shallowness, or shape, or the property contains exceptional topographic conditions, which is the stream. Number two, strict application of the zoning ordinance would result in practical difficulties to or undue hardship upon the owner. And primarily here, you're looking for situations that are not financial in nature. So if someone comes to the board and says, I've seen this one before, I bought a camper or I bought a RV and I cannot fit it in the backyard or I can't fit it in the driveway, those become monetary in nature, and those are not reasons, because there's nothing wrong with the property. It just means they bought an RV that's too big. So there's a clear distinction in the state law between it's got to be something that impedes the property or causes the property, causes undue hardship on the owner. But it can't be that they bought something or they're going to lose $5,000 if you all don't vote a certain way. You know, those are not eligible under the state law for variances. So all those conditions have been met with this applicant, and also the third one is the relief granted by this variance would not cause substantial detriment to the public good or substantially impair the intent of the purpose of the zoning ordinance. So staff doesn't find that number three would be an issue either. So that pretty much completes the report. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Is there an applicant here this evening for this? You mind stepping to the podium, sir? We're going to swear you in if you don't mind. If you would, raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? To help you God? Man, your name and your address for the record, please.
Kenneth Jenkins Jr., 205 Old Walden Road, Laverne.
Thanks, sir. Any questions from the board members? I have a couple. The material on the outside of the shed itself, what will the colour match the house, or what's the materials you're going to use colour-wise to match the rest of the area? The colour, the siding colour, the brick, or the material you're going to use?
Just wood.
Just wood, just
All
wouldn't you?
wood.
Okay. You've lived on the property for a long time. Are you sure that when we get lots of rain, and we do in Laverne, that the creek will not overflow to where your shed's going to be?
No,
You're satisfied?
that's right. It won't, when it rained, the last rain we had, it covered the whole, I got pictures of
No,
the whole thing.
I just didn't want to put the shed there and
Yeah.
all of a sudden it gets flooded.
It ain't
That's it.
going, no, 'cause I got high off the ground, because that's the reason I put my vet off the ground, because I lost two of them.
Okay,
Because I'm putting everything in the shed in the back, so I won't lose no more.
understand. Any other questions from the board?
I just have one question. On one of the pictures that was shown, is this structure under construction?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for the board members?
Could the shed not have been built across the creek?
No,
No way?
it gets a lot deeper. It gets a lot deeper. Well, my whole yard is that deep. Goes up in my house.
Any other questions then, board? I'll accept a motion one way or the other. You've met the staff's report, so I'll take a motion one way or the other for the approval of the Approval of request for the variance for the property located at 205 Old Walden Road.
Make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Thank you very much. New business, request for variance to yard requirements, side setback and rear setbacks, property located on Industrial Boulevard, tax map 29, parcel 14.01, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by SSI Laverne LLC. Mr. Logan, please, report.
Thanks. This is a request for variance to the side setbacks and also the yard requirements of the Laverne zoning ordinance. And this property is basically known now as BJ's Wholesale property. This site plan came to the Planning Commission in December and passed in December, so roughly 3 months ago. And since that time, the current owner and the owners to be have been in discussions about the billboards on the property, and the billboards are the reason for this plat that's here at Boza tonight. So I'll get to these images. So this is sort of a bird's eye view, but this is the properties. A lot of you are very familiar with it by now since it's already been to Planning Commission, but this is the Target in Smyrna. So the shopping center there, and then the apartments that sit behind Target. So this is on Industrial Boulevard. There's a little bit closer look. So of course, right now it's vacant property. As you know, there's a large cut of rock here at the back. Just looks like a cliff. You'll see some of that in the photos. So we're talking about this red piece here. The red is for C2 zoning, which is commercial highway service zoning. But everything else behind it, the darker blue, is industrial zoning, I2. These are some photos of the property. You can see the rock cuts that I mentioned just a minute ago, and then these are the apartments that are existing. Of course, they're in Smyrna, but this property is all in Laverne. So it's been vacant a long time. There's some old asphalt, things of that nature. There's another view. This is Target's building in the distance. And another close-up with some Target, looks like trucks for their deliveries. So this is the road frontage, just grass shoulder right now. You can see the billboards that we're discussing tonight. There's 2 of them, and this is looking southeast towards Smyrna. Here's a little bit closer view. So again, looking southeast, and this is Target in the distance. So that's 2 of the billboards, and then the third billboard is further to the north and west, and it's in the photo here. So this plat, the purpose of this plat, which is, it's on both agendas tonight, it'll come up later tonight at Planning Commission, but the purpose is to get these billboards on their own lots. And that's why it's here tonight. So I know in your packets is a layout of the current plat. So there's 3 areas that are designated. Go back to that. So this is the plat, and you'll see in your packets though, each billboard is on its own lot. So there's a lot here, and then the next billboard down has its own lot, and then the corner of the property would be the third billboard. And so per the zoning ordinance, as I mentioned, this is zone C2, which is highway service commercial, and the yard requirements for C2 are 20 feet, with 2/3 of the front yard being dedicated to landscaping, and then the required front setback is 35 feet. Rear setbacks are 20 feet, and of course, side setbacks are 10 feet, as typical. And of course, the lots that have been created for the billboards would not meet these zoning requirements for the yard and setbacks. And so their request revolves around asking for those variances. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Logan. Is there a representative here tonight? Would you step forward and raise your right hand to be sworn in, please? Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
John Richard Patterson, 10 Leah Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee, 37210.
Do you agree with what Mr. Logan has stated? Everything looks correct?
I do.
Any board members have any questions to do with these billboard signs? All good? I think we had a good report, and with that, somebody wants to make a motion for or against the variance? I'm going to step forward. I'm going to make a motion for the variance as submitted. Do I have a second?
A second.
Have a second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
you, sir. Okay, new business number 3. Request for sign variance, property located at Industrial Boulevard, tax map 29, parcel 1401, C2 Highway Services District, property owned by SSI Laverne LLC. Mr. Logan, please.
Thank you. So item number 3 is a request for sign variance, and this is actually the same exact property. This is you don't see this a lot, but it's a coincidence that the sign company submitted their package for this month's BOZA meeting at the same month that we had the plat for this property. So same property. You're kind of familiar with it already, so I won't spend a lot of time on the slides, but if you have any questions, just ask. Again, this is the last piece of property in the city of Laverne. It touches Smyrna, touches the Target parcel, and it's zoned C2 commercial. Now, this request is quite a bit different than the last because this just deals with the signage part of their application. So there's a rather lengthy packet that you have in front of you that outlines all of the sign requests, and I'll go over that in detail. But for those that are new to the project, there's a lot going on this site. The site plan that passed in December has not just the BJ's wholesale store, but it has a tire center, auto center, and it has a liquor store that'll be a separate dedicated entrance. So if you're looking at the store and say I-24 is to the back of you, that liquor store part would be to your left, tire center is going to be to your right. So they need different signs for all those uses in addition to the regular BJ's wholesale use. They also have curbside pickup and all that. So there's quite a bit of signage, and so part of the process in Laverne is that the applicant come to the BOZA and ask you all for permission for all of these signs. So the first slide here just shows the entire site. It's like a key that shows you by number every sign that they're asking for individually, and they're scattered throughout the site. So we'll go over these in detail. So these are the front elevations, and so this is the front of the store that would face Industrial Boulevard. You can see how it's designed, and then this large BJ sign with Wholesale Club under it would be displayed as it's shown in the photo. And then this elevation is actually cut. That's why it's at a diagonal here. So it was too wide to put on one sheet, so they've extended it. So this is the rest of the front. So you can see just how large of a store it's going to be. It's going to be very large. And so there's more signage here to the right of the on the right side of the building as you're facing the front. And then these are the rear elevations. And actually, and I think it's in the report, I did not find any signage on the rear. So if I'm in error, please let me know. I don't see anything that's proposed on the back of the store. So then this is the right side elevation, and you can see they're proposing another sign on that side. And I'm gonna jump into these sizes a little bit more. So, they're in essence asking for 6 additional wall signs above the one that the ordinance allows. So there'll be a total of 7 wall signs. And so all these elevations I'm showing you outline the different signs. So in this slide, this is the left side elevation, so you've got more of the square BJ sign, that's similar to the front elevation. So that's what they're asking for on that side. Let's see, the main sign on the front of the store will measure 8.5 feet by 13 feet, or 13 feet 1 3/4 inches. So that's 112 square feet, give or take. That main sign is 112 square feet. Then the wholesale club portion would be 32 feet long by 2 feet 10 inches high, for a total of 91. So if you add the 91 and 111, you're right at about 202 square feet for that main sign in the front of the store. And then the BJ's tire and service sign would be 22 feet 8 inches by 3 feet high, which is 68.01 square feet. They're also asking for signage to appear on the gas canopies. So on the screen is the image they submitted for the gas canopies. Total of 3 BJ's gas signs are proposed, in addition to various other small signs, such as diesel, and there's some clearance. You'll see here there's some really tiny clearance signs, and those are not considered, they're not large enough to really make a difference, but they are shown on your, they're shown in your packet, but they don't have to ask for a variance for a clearance sign in a gas canopy, just as an FYI. And then this is another detail of the ends of the gas canopy and what that signage will look like. They, again, they're asking for a total of 3 on the gas canopy, in addition to the 7 wall signs on the main building. And then it appears they're asking for 2 pylon signs. I couldn't tell by the submittal. It may just be 1 pylon sign. It appears that they're asking for 2 pylon signs at the road at Industrial Boulevard, and each of those would be 20 feet high. And the total size in square feet would be about 50.5 square feet on each side, or 101 square feet total of the 2 sides of the sign. And that pretty much covers the overview. There are some more detailed sheets, such as what I've got on the screen, that are in your packet, that really break down more or less the construction of the sign, how it's built, and how to be installed. And again, there's details for the wholesale club sign, and details for the BJ's tire sales and service sign. And then this is the curbside pickup sign. So there's great detail in your packets. And then this is the Spirit Shop sign. So you can tell there's a lot of information. And then more details about the gas signage. And this is the pylon sign. So I just wanted you to note the digital gas prices, or they included that. So that's all part of their calculation. They have the regular unleaded gas signs as you would see at any gas station, and then, of course, their logo, and then, of course, the digital gas price signs. There has been a sign on the property for approximately 4 weeks, and staff has not received any phone calls inquiring about the Boza sign. So that completes the report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Logan. Is there a representative here for the sign package? Might step to the podium, please, if you would. Raise your right hand, we'll swear you in. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mind stating your name and address for the record, please?
Betsy Shackelford. I work for Premier Sign Company, and that's the people that are actually going to be installing the sign. And my home address is 8204 Spinner Lane, Smyrna, Tennessee.
Thank you. Any questions from the board members? Aye, go ahead.
I see one that says BJ's Wholesale opening soon. Is that a temporary sign?
That is a temporary sign, yes, sir.
Is it like plywood or something like that?
Yes, sir. It would be wooden posts, and then the sign would be put on the plywood itself, sort of like a banner applied to the plywood.
So follow-up question, so for those two signs, item number 11 and 12A, do we have a timeline of how long they'll be up as temporary signs?
30 days.
30 days? Okay. And this question from Mr. Logan. Mr. Logan, how big is the building itself? It's a very large building, correct?
Square footage is 107,000 square feet.
It's a very, very large building.
And just a note on the temporary signs. So BOZA votes on permanent signs. Ms. Shackford was nice enough to show you all the temporary signs, but that's handled through the building department, and y'all wouldn't be voting on any temporary or banners, just permanent signage.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, thanks for showing. At least they can see what's coming.
Yes.
Graham, may I?
Go ahead, sir. So,
Oh,
do, you,
please.
do
Sorry.
you mind swearing in? Do you mind?
Yep,
Promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, but so help you God?
I do.
Name and address for the record.
Bill Zanoni, 113 Clifton Circle, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, 37830. Just a side note, it would be 30 days from grand opening. I want to clarify that. So we agreed that after we're open 30 days, there's no need. And the only reason we ask for 30 days is just the coordination of making sure somebody shows up and gets the sign down. So we would put it up sometime after we start construction. We're under construction for this site probably close to 9 months, and then 30 days after we grand open, the sign will come down. I just wanted to
No,
provide that
appreciate it.
detail, so.
So with that board, it's just we look at the sign package, the temporary signs will be handled by our codes department, so they'll take care of that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that clarification. I apologize.
Any other questions from the board members? So with that, I'll accept a motion for or against the variant sign package. Any
Make a motion to accept.
a motion to accept? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, number 4, request for a special exception to allow sales and leasing of trucks and trailers properly located at 131 Industrial Boulevard, tax map 170, Group B, Parcel 5, I2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Creative Strategic Investments LLC. Mr. Logan.
Thanks. So this request is for a special exception to allow truck sales and leasing at 131 Industrial Boulevard. So you can see on the screen here, it's outlined in blue. It's sort of a backward C-shaped property. It does have frontage on Industrial Boulevard, and then kind of wraps around that pilot, I believe it's a pilot station. So zooming in, you can see again this kind of a backward C shape. There's a large building on the property, and you can see also the large amount of tractor trailers that have been on the property, and it does have a fair amount of concrete, and then I believe there is some dustless surface. It's a large site, so there is some areas of dustless surface. The zoning map shows it's I-2, which is heavy industrial, and also most of its neighbors are I-2, except the pilot station is C2 red, and then some other neighbors here are C2 that front Walden Road, between this lot and Walden Road. Photos of the property, so you may have seen this building with the green roof. It's got a green metal roof, and looks like the exterior is CMU, And they do have some banners up with the name of the new company that has purchased the property. And again, it is a large site, and they're requesting permission to sell and lease trucks at this site, which in the zoning ordinance, I-2 will allow for the sale and leasing of vehicles after the applicant goes to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And basically, I-2 allows, that use would be more of a commercial use, but this is the part of the ordinance that allows the commercial uses to be permitted in I-2, just like they would be in the commercial uses, but they have to go to BOZA, whereas they'd be permitted outright in C2. And again, some more pictures of the property. Got a lot of trucks on the site. And by the way, this was the former location of, I believe it was Venture Express, and they moved on to, from what I understand, they moved on to Nissan property, and so that's where they've gone, as they do a lot of their work with Nissan. And that pretty much completes the report. At this time, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Mr. Logan, if you would, just, so they only had the one entranceway, is that correct? That's still the plan?
Yes, sir, I believe that's correct. Is this one here?
Okay. And then the dustless surface is from the entranceway, how far back does that go? I mean, looking at that, is it the edge of the building? Let's do this, let's invite the applicant up, maybe he can answer the question.
Yeah, and this one, the way the process will work with this one, it's gonna be a change of use, so it'll have to go to planning commission.
Sure.
So at that time, they would have to address the technical issues, but I don't know the exact distance back of that dustless surface.
Do you have an applicant here this evening for this? Step forward if you would. If you would, raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
John Harney. I live at 6748 West Gum Road in Murfreesboro.
John, could you just clarify where the dustless surface ends, if you would?
The dustless surface, it almost have to have Mr. Long's pointer.
Oh, can you give me your, there you go.
Basically, the concrete ends about right there. This is all concrete surface here. That's a 100,000 square foot industrial building. But basically about, these are your SEC, Matt Taylor's with me tonight. Roughly there's about 3 acres that is in hard packed gravel. It's been that way, I guess, as long as Venture's on the property, which is over 20 years.
Sure.
The rest of it's concrete.
Okay, thank you. And although this is for zoning, you're still going to use the one entrance, is that the plan? Use the existing entrance?
At this time, yes, sir, that one entrance. Now, it does have frontage above Pilot there to the north. There is a little bit of frontage there, but the creek sort of conflicts right there. So I think the practical way to just keep on using the entrance that's always been used by Venture.
Okay. Any other questions for any board members? So with that, I'll accept a motion for or against the request for the special exception to allow sales and leasing of trucks and trailers at this property.
I'll make a motion to accept as presented.
We make a motion to accept this. Do I have a second?
A second.
We have a second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
With that, it completes the agenda. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.